What's up, everybody? My name is Bryce, aka DubsNotSubs, and welcome back to another episode of the podcast arc. We are on week 17. We're back with a lot of news, a decent amount of news. I mean, a lot of stuff came out last week. We had a huge amount of manga news there. So we got a decent amount here. We're even going to get into my top movies. We're going to rank them all because there wasn't, as I said, a lot of news, but there was enough to, do another week of this. So I hope you guys are all having a good week. I personally am. I've been doing pretty good this week. I'm not going to lie. Sucks my work itself has been really kind of trashy. I'm not gonna lie. It is. I had my hours reduced and a pay cut, but I gotta make the best of my situation. You can still have fun while not spending a lot, and that is what I'm quickly learning because I'm having a lot of fun. Just hanging out with my friends, doing a lot of outside activities. I hope you guys are all having fun too. So I've been having a lot of good times with that. Still moving forward, trying to make a best of the summer. That is probably one of the weirdest summers that I've ever been in and will probably ever be in, because this changed so much for how my entire life was going to go, because I originally planned to go full-time at my work for the summer and then do part-time during college. That was my original plan, but as you guys all know, with this happening, it changed everybody's lives, and myself included. So I've been having a way different year than I thought I would. I'm just been able to crank out videos, which is something I really enjoy. I love making videos. I love doing this kind of stuff. It's really enjoyable. It's nice that I still get to dedicate some time to it and perfect my craft as best as I can, even though, I'm like maybe a 6 on the YouTube things, giving myself a little bit of credit there. I don't think I'm terrible, but I'm not going to sit here and be like I'm the best out there. But it's been good times, swimming. We were going to originally go tubing for Saturday, but it was going to rain, so we ended up not doing that, just hanging out and chilling out, talking, campfire kind of beat. Nice, vibey, relaxing day. It's been just a lot of fun, getting back, hanging out with my friends, even though it's outside in your distance, I'm a very sociable person, so it's nice to be able to actually do this kind of stuff. So I hope you guys are all having a good week. Like I said earlier, I hope that everyone has a good next week, and please make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you feel that I deserved it. Now, let's get into the news. First up, we have Shonen Jump here is going to be doing a new series that is coming to come out today. When this comes out on Monday, it will be up, and it's called Ghost Reaper Girl by Akasiya Saiki, and is by the manga for Rosaria and Vampire, and it starts on Monday, like I said, and it's a scrappy girl had it with a grabby ghost and fights back. It's going to probably be some ecchi vampire action stuff, like his last series. Actually, not grabby ghost, not vampire. It's going to be ecchi ghost kind of action, because I believe that's what Rosario. I have not actually read Rosario X Vampire, and I did want to read it at one point because they have the box set and stuff like that, so I wanted to check it out, because I feel like if there's a box set for it, it's got to be pretty good, right? Or it's got to have enough sales to warrant a box set. So I want to try it at some point. I'll probably end up reading it on the Shonen Jump app because it's way cheaper and I pay for it, so I might as well use that, because right now I'm actually working through Siren, and that's actually a pretty interesting series. I wouldn't say it's blowing me out of the water, but it's definitely shown itself to be a good series and something that I've thoroughly enjoyed. I'm only 4 or 5, actually I think I'm 10 chapters in, so I'm not far into it, but it's still fun, and it's a nice read when I'm at work and stuff like that. Even though I am on reduced hours, I still am going to work. But anyway, this is going to be cool. I can't wait to check this out. Hopefully it is good. Like I said, it's going to be coming out on Monday. The art I remember from Rosario X Vampire is pretty good. I'm sorry if it's not X, but I don't really think it matters that much. Characters look pretty cool. I mean, that's all we have right here. This is your entire thing. So we'll see. But I can tell you right now, my favorite thing about this is that there was a white background. Oh, this is heaven to me for making a thumbnail. Taking the background off, I just have to use the magic wand tool, and I can just feel all the stress going away from me trying to get away with all this. With all the backgrounds, because man, there are some Shonen Jump titles that is a nightmare to get rid of the backgrounds for, to put it up on the thing. So I can't wait for this one. It's going to be coming out Monday, so next week you guys will be hearing my review of it and what I think of Chapter 1 from this. This week I have not read every single thing so far from the Shonen Jump, new Shonen Jump week. There's been some stuff I haven't read. I was legitimately about to be destroyed, because I thought Mitsuma Security wasn't going to continue, because for a second when I clicked on it, it didn't show coming in 7 days. So I looked at it and I was like, oh no, are you seriously telling me they cut it off? Because I know it's towards the bottom of the list right now, which is really wrecking me. It's delaying the inevitable. To be honest, it's probably going to get ended soon, because I believe it's not towards the top of the TLC, or at least the middle, and I'm really, really sad about that, because I think it is a genuinely good series. I say this all the time, but I was destroyed. I couldn't even finish the chapter. I legitimately went to the end of the chapter to see if it said if it was like a glitch or something, but luckily it was a glitch. It wasn't canceled. And I get to have a little bit more of my lovely series, because, man, I just don't want it to end. I love the rides going on. I find the characters so funny and so good, and I definitely recommend checking out if you haven't read it yet. It's a very, very good gag comedy. And let me click on this real quick just so it brings up all the actual Shonen Jump stuff, so I don't say the title stuff wrong. I will be getting into Haiku in a second, but the other series that I read, I haven't read Ayakashi Triangle yet, but Hardboiled Cop and Dolphin, it led away for chapter 2, showing that there's going to be some, like, really interesting, like, undersea water crime and, like, crazy creatures they were going to have to fight. But this chapter ended up kind of just wrapping up super quickly. The pacing was a bit weird with the fight. It just kind of, like, he just overpowered him one real quick and then continued onto it and kind of wrote it off as a joke. So I don't know if they're going to delve into more of that and make it more of an active thing, or if it's going to end up being more of a comedy-focused one-shot thing. It's not one chapter, because it has gone past that. I think, yeah, chapter 2 and 3 both included the monster that he ended up defeating, but he never really struggled with it, like the top detective right here, this guy. So we'll see how that ends up turning out later, because I'm interested in this series. I like the art. I really do like the art, and I like where the potential of this series can go. But if it goes on the path that it's going right now, which is just a straight-up comedy like it is, I don't see it lasting. I have not checked out Mago-chan yet. Neither have I checked out this one. I heard this one's supposed to slowly turn into a more serious action thing. I saw that on Twitter. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I thought it was Shonen Jump, or like one of the author comments he said that. I could be wrong. Don't quote me on this, like 100%. Take this with a pinch of salt. But I thought I heard this ending up turning into like an actual just straight up action like fight. So I don't know how that's going to end up turning out. I haven't read Time Paradox yet, but I do like where this is going, because I was really worried about how this was going to end up going, and if it was going to get canceled because there wasn't enough that it changed. It was too much of the same thing over and over again, because obviously, if you read chapter 1, I'm going to spoil it, and if you guys haven't, click ahead a little bit. But anyway, this is basically about this guy on the front right here who takes a girl gets a Shonen Jump magazine from 10 years in the future, and ends up plagiarizing the actual magazine, doing a bunch of things. He didn't do it on purpose, but just to go real quickly recap it, he ends up plagiarizing and submitting it and finally getting in, and we find out that this blue-haired girl to his left actually was the one who wrote it, and she's 10 years in the past. She shows up to him, and she isn't mad at him for doing it, because she thinks it's a coincidence that it ends up happening. So he's continuing to write this to live up in her glory, because it's one of the best manga series of all time, and it's just one of the best written Shonen Jump series ever. But what happens in the last chapter is that something happens with the blue-haired girl that we find out that happens in the future, and what this guy is supposed to do to change it or alter in some way. So I cannot wait to see where this goes, because it actually adds a nice little twist to it, and it also shows that there is a different point to be interested in this, and adds a little bit of a thriller mind game kind of thing, because now he's trying to figure out what to do to stop this future event and what could even cause this future event. So he's just going through that. Then we have Chainsaw Man. Fantastic. This whole Gun Devil arc is fucking crazy. This dude knows what he's doing, and he's a fantastic mangaka. It is a balls to the wall story, and it does a fantastic job the entire time. I love it so much. This might be my favorite chapter so far. The one before it started to get a little bit confusing toward the end. It was just some of the stuff that started happening to it. I think it's just because it's the weekly thing, so I don't remember every single thing that happens in the chapter before. So I forget a couple things about it, and then something happens. I'm like, was I supposed to remember this or something like that? So it's most likely my own thing. But it's fantastic, and it's one of the best darker series. And if you like darker adult series, it is fantastic. When we're finding about Makima, my God, she's crazy. And this latest chapter, the ending, oh my God. I don't want to say anything if you haven't read it yet, but you need to read it right now and catch up, because Denji's doing something. My man, I want him to be well. That's all I can say, and I want the thing to end up well. I haven't read Mashley yet. I haven't read most of these yet. Mitsuma, staying strong, staying funny. I like how it's going. It focuses on the guy who doesn't have spirit sense, if you have been reading the series, and what this kind of world looks like to him and how they end up looking at him. It's just a nice wholesome comedy, and I fucking love it. It's so relaxing. It's so nice. And yeah. So, I believe that's all the stuff. I don't even want to comment on Mori King. I'm mind blown that it somehow got number 4, and I cannot fathom that, and I don't think it deserves it. But that's just my opinion, and obviously I am in the wrong because everyone else feels like it does. But anyway, next up we have, this should be, which one's Haiku? Oh, Haiku's, okay, we'll go Haiku later. But right now, I want to do Haiku right now because it just makes more sense with the Shonen Jump stuff. So, Haiku is ending in next week's issue. It has been running for 8 years. It has a total of, I think it's almost 400 chapters. It's going to be like, what? It's going to be over 40 volumes. Yeah, 44 volumes. That's what it is. I was right. Does it show the chapters? I just don't want to be wrong. Just know it's over 400 or something. It's a crazy amount. 8 years running. It's got to have one at least every week with the thing of breaks and stuff like that, maybe like every once in a while and stuff like that. But anyway, this is one of the best sports mangas of all time. I've been watching the anime for it, and I absolutely adore the anime. Some of the best openings, endings, character development, great dialogue. It's just a fantastic series, and this is speaking from the anime perspective because I haven't read the manga, but it's just so engaging. To like, legitimately, I get angry when they lose, like, or when they're losing, or when something goes wrong in them, because you just end up wanting you want this team to win, and it feels so real when you're in the moment, and you know how it feels if you play, especially if you played sports. There's a relatability on it that you can feel, and like that is what it's like when someone's struggling or when something happens within the sports. Even if it's not volleyball, if you play basketball, football, whatever sport you played, even like chess or whatever, because everything in the way of sports, how it kind of works around with your struggles stuff. Even though it's like chess isn't basketball, like one's a lot more physical, but chess still has its own struggles and mindsets and like mistakes and self recoveries and stuff like that. You can still relate to these other sports, even though they're vastly different, which is one of the beautiful things about sports. But this series itself is so fantastic. I'm sad to see it come to an end. From what I know, it's going to be pretty good. It's pretty good ending. I've not heard anyone complain about it so far, and I obviously don't want to look at the ending because I'm not caught up to the actual manga, and I've been watching the anime, so I'm going to watch the anime till completion. But that is Haiku. Thank you so much for all the hard work you've done, the creator. I slipped my mind what his name was, and I'm really disappointed that I forgot it right now. And I'm trying to delay myself so I could say it. But anyway, I'm going to go to the next thing because I don't want to delay this for too long. But thank you so much, Mr. Manga, that I forgot your name up during the podcast. But thank you so much for this fantastic sports manga, one of the best sports mangas of all time. So we are next going to get into My Hero Academia is on a break this week. So if you've been reading yesterday's issue and wondering why it's gone, it is on a break. They're having trouble finishing the manuscript because of the shift from analog to digital. The change was made to lower the risk of COVID-19. The series will resume in issues number 33 and 34. So that is why it is not continuing. Understandable, you doing changes, you gotta get used to stuff. Things are a bit wacky and weird in this time, so we gotta let Horikoshi do his thing, get used to it, make sure everyone's safe. So we'll see it back next week. Not caught up on the manga currently. I've been reading the physicals, and that's how I've been catching up onto it. But anyway, next up, we have Kimetsu no Yaiba has officially recorded 71,618,000 copies sold in Oricon, surpassing Attack on Titan, becoming the second most series sold in all of Oricon's history. I think this is when I'm looking in the comments right now, if you guys can see this, and you can, but it says, but Attack on Titan has 100 million in sales. It probably means in Oricon's history, and now as I've been actually reading this comment before, because I want to make sure that I don't tell you guys the wrong thing, so we see Attack on Titan has had 100 million, and it says, those are the circulation numbers, which include copies sold and copies in bookstores / printed. Demon Slayer excluded digital sales, and AOT doesn't count digital sales. And then we go below, and it says, yes, AOT does, so that is why there is a difference for that. But this is absolutely insane. This just shows the power of manga. This shows what a hype series and what a hype manga can do. Obviously, it did the same thing for Attack on Titan, because I didn't hear anything about Attack on Titan until that anime came out. And once the anime came out, everybody bought the absolute hell out of that manga. And we see the same thing with Kimetsu no Yaiba. So people buy with what people show how much they love a series by how much they're willing to pay for it, because everyone can say they love a series. Like, I can say I love Dragon Ball, but I'm not going to go out and buy a Dragon Ball manga or anything like that. I haven't seen Dragon Ball, that's mostly why. I'm just saying if I'm buying or something like that, or something like, okay, I'm trying to think of a manga series that okay, Snafu. I love Snafu. I love the Snafu series. I'm not gonna go and buy the light novels. People show how much they love something by buying the actual thing or putting their money where their mouth is, and it just shows that so many people love this enough to put this many copies in sale, and that's why it is number 2. I don't. Hey, this creator, manga, did a fantastic job, and they know what they're doing. I heard it had a terrible ending, or actually pretty lame ending, but Gotoge is actually fantastic, and the journey that it went on was really top tier and really good, but from what I hear, the manga ending isn't all that great, but I actually haven't seen it yet, and also I heard something happen with their family or something like that, with the manga's family, so maybe that's why. I think that's why they finished it up, but that could have been a different series creator who ended up rushing the ending of a series for that. And I heard Promised Neverland was also meh, but we'll see when those both come out, because I have not actually finished those. I'm reading the physical copies for those to catch up on. But that is the Demon Slayer. I congratulate it. I don't care about the hate. People proved how much they love it by putting the copies in there, and it shows how much there is a demand for that series, and I can't really hate on it. So speaking of a manga creator who has a lot of demand, that is Makoto Yukimura, created the Vinland Saga. He has recommended a manga for all of us to read, and that is 'Tis Time for Torture Princess. So, let me tell you guys about this after I read what he tweeted. He tweeted, and this is the English, he said, Hime-sama Goman no Jinke desu is my favorite manga these days. It's about a year since the series started. I'm sure we'll get an anime soon. Check it out. Now, 'Tis Time for Torture Princess I have a review up here for my full review. Go check that out. Hopefully, love of God, I put a card up there for once, because I keep forgetting to put cards up in the podcast, but hopefully it's there. Anyway, so this series is about this girl right here, the princess of it. They're in a fantasy world where demons and humans are fighting, and the princess ends up getting captured. She's also a warrior. She's the front line. She's one of the most powerful people on the battlefield. They capture her, and they torture her, and I say that in quotation marks, because what we find out is through episode 1, or the chapter 1, I would strongly encourage you to read this first, because the actual twist on it is kind of funny. But anyway, as you could tell from the manga if you're looking at this, but if you're not, she's basically staring at a bunch of food. This is basically one of the cutest tortures ever, because they don't actually torture her. They basically show her a bunch of fluffy animals and tell her they have her pet them or something like that, and then to have more she has to spill a secret, or they start making ramen or some really delicious looking food, and she ends up succumbing to that and selling them out so they could eat the food, and just giving them more secrets like that. But not only is the princess funny, her sword, who I can't remember, I think it's Excalibur, but I don't actually know. Now I'm thinking about it, it's definitely not Excalibur, but her sword, who is a talking sword, is kind of like the voice of reason. It's like, why are you coming to this really pansies torture so easily? But then you also have the Tortura, which is literally her name, and that is the head of the torture area in the demon world, and she's actually a really funny character. You have Mao-chan, which is the demon lord's child, and one of the cutest things ever created in all of manga. She is so wholesome, and I cannot contain myself for how much I love that character. And when it's so good. The art in this is fantastic, and all the other people that end up in the story are super funny. The demon lord himself, everybody is just so quirky and funny. It makes you really think that the humans are the bad guys in this series. None of the demons seem like terrible people. They just seem like really nice people, and I don't understand why they're in a war, and I'm really going to be sad when this ends, but I think this is doing really good, and I hope this continues, because this is genuinely one of the most wholesome, cutesy, funny, just nice, relaxing series that is out there. And it's weird because it's called 'Tis Time for Torture Princess, but it is nothing like the title says. Read it, check it out. It is so good. It is a nice thing. It comes out on Mondays every single week. It is on Manga Plus app for free, so check that out if you get the chance. And we are going to get on to another free, I don't know if okay, no, this is the wrong thing. I believe the manga publisher is next. Yeah, it is. Okay, it's next. But anyway, so Eigo Manga has launched a Kickstarter crowdfunding for its release of Inka Sugihara's First Squad, The Moment of Truth manga on Friday. The campaign is aiming to raise $3,000 to cover the cost of printing and shipping the release to retailers. As of press time, The campaign has raised $936. The publisher will use the funds in the campaign to print and ship the manga, create and ship Kickstarter rewards, and cover Kickstarter fees. Funds raised beyond the goal will go towards future First Squad publications. Backer rewards will include physical and digital copies of the manga, a commemorative coin, a poster, stickers, bookmarks, and a name listed in the credits. The campaign will end on August 2nd, and the manga is slated to come out October 2020. The publisher explained on the campaign crowdfunding page that the book is complete. Retailers have placed purchased orders, and early copies have already shipped. Eigo Manga is crowdfunding the release to ensure that they can fulfill the purchase orders and supply books to bookstores. So, this story is based on a anime, I believe. I don't know if this was originally a manga or an anime first, but you can check the anime on Amazon Prime. I know what's on there, but it's actually cool. I've never heard of Eigo Manga before, so I don't know if this is like their first English release or not, but it's nice to see that we're going to get a new manga publisher out here, and that means more manga if this goes well. So if you guys want to get First Squad, go on to Kickstarter, just look up Eigo ga manga, which means no manga. Actually, no, it doesn't. Eigo does not mean no. Eigo means, I believe, I don't know if it's spelled different, but I believe that means English manga. I'm learning Japanese, and Eigo means, manga, unless I'm thinking of it being spelled differently. But anyway, so look up that on Kickstarter if you want it. You can check out the price for it. I believe it's like $20 for a physical copy and $10 for a digital copy on the actual site. So don't quote me on that. We'll have a link in the description to it. So check that out if you want to support it, or you just want to check it out. I believe this is going to be printed in a graphic novel type of way, though. So I'm not exactly sure about that. It's a bit weird, actually, to me, because on here it says manga, but when you go to Kickstarter, it says graphic novel, and it looks like it's way thinner, like a comic book. So we'll see actually how that ends up doing and what they actually end up doing with it. So, hey. Yeah, and by the way, it is Eigo, and that is right, and I'm learning Japanese, so that means that money I'm putting into my online class is actually worth it. So, next up, we're going to be getting on to International Manga School Contest announces the winners. The International Comic Manga School Contest 2020 announced its winning entries on the Clip Studio Paint website last Friday. The contest released more than 750 illustrations and comic applications from 825 schools in 69 countries and regions. The theme of the competition was promise. The overall grand prize winner of the comic manga bande dessinée webtoon category was Our Grand Station by artist Kyo Queen from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. Ada and Roach by Matilda Swinske from the University of Applied Science Hamburg won in the comics category. Forgiveness by Zio He Xiannian from Changyang University of Technology won in the manga category. Charlotte by Cloud7 from Leyland High School won the webtoon category. Midsummer Traveler by Echo from Huahun Textile University won the bande dessinée category. And, does it have any, let me see, I lost my place. Youth Promise by Shell from Human Academy Europe won in the storyboard category. Ario from Nihon Kogakuin College won the illustration category. The winning entries can be read on Clip Studio Paint website, along with the judges' comments. Clip Studio has also posted a video message by the judges. The competition was organized with special cooperation from publisher Sechua and Katakoa, as well as electronic manufacturer Wacom. So, the reason I cover this, obviously, besides that it's a manga reward and hosted by Clip Studio Paint, so it's official and like a pretty big contest, we see that the Art Institute of Chicago from America has won, and there's a European one that has also won, and did I miss any other ones? I think Wuhan is in China, so London, I don't know where Leland is, but basically my main reason for this is I thought it was really cool that we have someone from Chicago actually won, someone from the States won, and someone from Europe, which proves that more people are looking into comics, webtoons, and all this kind of stuff, and still creating it, still going strong. I need to check out these, and I will be checking these out, all the comments for it. I have not checked it out yet. For this video, I've been really busy this week, surprisingly, even though my hours were reduced, but congratulations to all these people, and I'm really happy that you guys won. You probably well deserved it. I haven't read it yet, but obviously the judges know what they're doing. Sesua and Katakoa, they're pretty reliable for their kind of stuff, and I trust their decisions in making for this. But I will be checking that out later just to see what the comics were and to see what kind of people these created, and specifically the Art Institute of Chicago, because I want to know. I really do want to know. So, next up, we have, this is the manga company that I was talking about having a new manga company, and I guess technically not new, but I'll get into that in a second. So, Tokyo Broadcasting System announced on Tuesday that it has acquired 49% of the shares of Dana's digital manga platform, MangaBox, as of May 18th. Dana retains the other 51% of the joint venture shares. Through this joint venture, TBS seeks to strengthen its content and promote comprehensive media strategy under the Group Midterm Business Plan 2020. The company seeks to develop more original intellectual property from manga. TBS states that the combination of its production and media capabilities and Dana's editing and marketing strengths will allow the two companies to expand into multiple different media markets and provide a richer content experience. Now, this is, it says in manga, in Japanese and English, but that's a complete lie. I spent the entire week looking for MangaBox in English. Google, I looked up APKs for it. I did whatever I could to try to find this series, and I could not find the English version of this app to save my life. I don't think it's available any longer. I think they cut off support for it because I could not find it. I could be wrong, so don't quote me on that 100%. But from what I've seen when I looked on the Play Store, it both said first off, it said all my devices weren't compatible, which is instantly why I don't think that's true because I have a Google Pixel 3. So this is pretty new, so I don't know what the thing is unless it's region locked. I looked up APKs for it, and I downloaded the latest APK for the actual app, and when I went on there was no English on there at all. It was only Japanese. So I'm hoping with this, when it says multiple different media markets, I'm hoping that means the English media market, and that means they're going to go back into the American market for it, because from what I know and from what I've done my research on, that is not in there any longer. So we'll see how this ends up turning out, because Tokyo Broadcasting System has a lot of money, and let's hope, and Dana does too. Dana makes a pretty popular stuff, at least from what I've seen with their the contract with Nintendo. So we'll see how this ends up turning out. I'm excited, and I really hope we will get more manga in English. I hope this ends up translating to that. We'll see. Only the future knows, and only we will know in the future. So we'll see how that ends up turning out. I'm excited for this. MangaBox, if you want to look it up, look it up on Google Play. It's called MangaBox. It's not on there anymore in the English market. But next up, we're going to get on to Comic Market 99 events plans moved from Winter 2020 to Golden Week 2021. So, stats cite COVID-19 delayed the Olympics as for reason for move. The Comic Market Committee announced on Sunday that it is aiming to move the planned Winter Comic Market Comiket 99 event from this winter to the Golden Week holidays in 2021, which will take place in April and May 2021. The committee cited scheduling issues considering Tokyo Big Sight East Exhibition Hall will remain unavailable until fall 2021 due to the Olympics and the difficulty of taking preventative measures restricting the maximum capacity of each area due to the new coronavirus disease. The committee also stated it is considering projects for the 45th anniversary of Comiket in December, as well as an Air Comiket event for Golden Week. The Comiket 98 event was planned to take place from May 2 to the 5th, was canceled to help prevent the spread of COVID-19. The event was planned for May instead of the normal August timeframe due to the 2020 Olympics, scheduled to take place in July through August. However, the 2020 Olympics are now postponed to a planned July 23rd, 2020 start. Tokyo has seen a rise of COVID-19 cases recently. Sunday was the fourth day in a row that Tokyo has reported more than 200 new cases. So, it's obvious, no one's surprised here. Comiket's getting removed because of COVID-19. COVID-19 is the worst thing to ever happen this year, because I was wanting to go into an anime convention for my first time ever, and that didn't happen. It ruined everything! But obviously no one's surprised that Comiket's moving on here. No Joujinshi this year, but we'll be seeing it next year. It's just a delay, and it's the inevitable. I don't think anyone's surprised or really oh my god, how could this happen? I'm sure a lot of people are disappointed for it. And obviously with the 2020 Olympics taking place So using this to some capacity, the call that they're going to use. So we'll see how this ends up turning out, and if they're able to do it next year. I hope they are, because I mean it's a huge thing. It's the biggest doujinshi place ever, and I know that from reading a 4-koma in this series that I can't remember for the life of me what the name of it is. But that's how I know that all about Comiket and stuff, because it's just a series about people wanting to make doujinshis and what it's all about, and like the creation goes into doujinshis, what it's like to set up a thing at Comiket or these other doujinshi kind of places and events. So it's cool. I'm sad to see that it's gone, because that means less original, like, independent manga and stuff like that. So next up, we're going to be getting to something that is not manga related, and that is G-Shock is releasing a One Piece timepiece for the U.S. market. G-Shock is going to make a collaborative piece with One Piece for a watch. It's going to be a G-Shock watch. And does it have the actual price on here? It yeah. Item costs $250, which means hell no to the no. I am not buying this. I don't have $250 to spend on a watch. I'm not out of my mind, but I don't even think, in all honesty, I think it looks cool, but not $250 cool. Like, unless I'm getting a smartwatch, there's no way in hell I'm going to pay $250 for a watch. I don't care that much in any way for like something like that. I don't even care enough to buy a smartwatch for $250, much more a watch that tells the time. Like, what is this? This is 2020. That thing can't read my text, and you want me to pay more than like $10 for it? Ugh. I'm so entitled. I'm just kidding. Like, it's your thing. It's your thing. It definitely seems like a hype piece kind of a thing. But I'm gonna be passing on it because it's just not for me. I'm not a watch guy. I'm not a huge accessory guy. There's certain bracelets and like necklaces I wear, but for the most part, I really am just not into that kind of stuff. But I believe this is coming out July 22nd. I was right. And it's going to be coming out then. So you want it? It's coming out soon. I believe in like 2 weeks you can get it if you really, really want it. So go for it if you want. And if you do, tweet at me. Tweet at me on Twitter. And like at DubsNotSubs and tell me it. And I want to see that someone actually bought that and see how actually a nice quality this is. For $250, it better be fucking awesome. But next up, we're going to get on to Marie Okuda's Oh Maiden in Your Savage Season manga gets a live-action series. The August issue of Kodansha's Betsasu Shonen Magazine announced on Thursday that Marie Okuda and Nara Emeto's Oh Maidens in Your Savage season manga is inspiring in a live-action television series. The manga will also have 2 new side stories chapters that will debut in the magazine next 2 issues in August and September. So does it say the actual time the television is going to come out for it? No, it does not. So basically it's just going to be announced. I thought that's all it was, but I'd like to reread it real quick, because I always look through these stuff before I go into it, but I just want to make sure I don't miss anything, so I quickly go through it before I continue to talk about it. But right now it's just being announced, no release date, don't know anything more about it. It makes sense to have this as a live action, because it seems like a very good live action kind of setting. Marie Okuda, fantastic writer, fantastic art from Nao Emoto, who did, what was it? It was Boys Over Flowers. Was it Boys Over Flowers? No, it wasn't. It couldn't be It wasn't Boys Over Flowers. Maybe it was Kiss Him Not Me. I could be wrong. I don't know why I can't remember what she's done. Does it show oh man, it's not gonna tell. Oh, Forgive Me Not. Ha! Forget Me Not. Thank God the article shows that kind of stuff. It was really going to annoy me that I got that wrong and told you guys the wrong thing. But Forget Me Not. It's really good art. It works really well for a shoujo. I think it's a really interesting look on adolescence and puberty, sex, all this kind of things. They're just growing up. So seeing it in live action makes sense. I think it'll be well in a live action TV series, and I think it'll be kind of funny. I just still remember when she, like the girl in the front of this cover of the number 1 of the volume 1, walks into the room and the kid masturbating for the first time and just shell shocked by it. And the new developments that have come into the actual manga, the physical that has come out. I don't know if there's another issue besides what I'm on. From last thing I know, this girl and the dude, actually, I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to spoil it. So read it if you get the chance. It's really good. I recommend it. It's actually a very, very good adolescent, slice of life, growing up, puberty kind of discussion, especially from a girl's side of view. So we're going to get on to the live-action Tomy horror series cast Adeline Rudolph. The entertainment news website Deadline reported on Thursday that streaming service Quibi has greenlit the live-action series of Junji Ito's Tomy manga, and that the adaptation has cast Adeline Rudolph, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, as the title character. So these are going to be 10-minute long episodes, and let me tell you, I was kind of excited for this, to be honest. I was like, oh, cool. Horror series for this, even though I think Tomy is the worst out of the big three for Junji Ito's kind of thing. I say big three. I'm just talking about Gyo, Uzumaki, and Tomy because that just, in my mind, seem like his most popular titles. And Tomy is definitely my least favorite out of those. Definitely it goes Uzumaki, Gyo, then Tomy. Like, Tomy's, like, way down there. Gyo, Uzumaki are, like, neck and neck for me, but Uzumaki edges it out. But this is going to be cool if you like this kind of thing, so we'll see how it ends up turning out. Quibi is going to be failing because it is in a huge amount of debt because nobody uses the service, and I don't know how this is going to turn out, and the dude just keeps investing more and more money to this, and from what I know, it's not doing too well. So I don't know. I'm not going to buy it to go watch the live-action version of Tomy. I've read the manga, and that's enough for me. So you're going to check it out. It's going to be on Quibi, and I don't believe it has the actual release date yet, and I think it's just been announced, and I am right about that. So we're going to get on to my top movies I've ever watched. We're going to rank it, so we have the top tier right here, the best tier, waifu tier. That is the best tier. And I have deemed myself only allowed to put 3 movies up here in the waifu tier. So then next up we have the A+ tier, we have the mid tier, the low you try tiered, and in the trash. And that is the 5 tiers we're going to be going over for the levels. So let's get into this. I am only going to be covering the certain stuff that I've actually watched. I put a couple extras ones in here in case you guys actually want to do this on your own. So feel free. I'll leave a link in the description to do this. I need to add more movies as it goes, and I'm sorry if I missed a couple movies that you either watched or that I just completely forgot about. So let's start with this, and I want to do my first waifu one, and it's my favorite movie of all time, and that is Koi no Tachi, a.k.a. A Silent Voice, and that's the only one I'm going to be able to say the Japanese name for it, and I might even said it wrong. But A Silent Voice is, without a doubt, my favorite anime movie of all time. It makes me cry every time. I cry at least 3 times every time I watch it, especially, like, the Ferris wheel scene, the ending scene, and right before the ending scene with the festival. Those always gets me every time, and I can't help myself. So without a doubt, this goes on waifu tier. So let me look at these other ones. We have Marie and the Witch's Flower. Now, this is a good series. I like this. This is by the people who are in Studio Ghibli. This is Studio Pontiac, I believe. I'm sorry if I pronounced it wrong, but it's Pontiac or something like that. But this is done by them, so it's a lot of it feels very Ghibli inspired. It's a very good series, but I ended up watching the dub, and I think every character was good except the scientist in there. So it's hard for me to give it an A+ out of this. I have to give it a mid for it. I think it's a good series. I think there's a lot of potential for the series. I think it's actually a very, very solid series. And if there were 6 tiers, it would go one above because I do think it's a little bit better than mid. I think it's a high tier mid. But it's definitely good, but it's one of the series that I end up forgetting sometimes I even watch, so that's why can't give it an A+ or something like that. So, next up, what we got right here, we have Garden of Words. So, now let me talk about Garden of Words here. This is one of my favorite Makoto Shinkai films ever. I absolutely adore this series. It is so good through and through. It is, oh my god, it is so good. It is not waifu tier, but damn is it close. I love this. It's only an hour and like 10 minutes. I don't even think it's an hour. It's maybe just like exactly an hour. It's not that long of a movie. But for me to fall in love with these characters and get that attached to them just throughout that short of a period of time, it's beautifully animated. It's beautifully voice acted. It is fantastic through and through. I recommend it. If you like Makoto Shinkai and you haven't checked out that, go for it. Next up, we had Lu Over the Wall, a good animated movie. Masaki Uesha is a fantastic director. I don't think this is his best work, though. I don't know. I think it's really good, and I think it's a very unique series, but I think there's some pacing issues, and it's kind of a bit, sometimes it feels like it gets too wacky to be wacky. It feels like it's too wacky, and it's just wacky for wacky's sake, and just to be out there, so I have to give it a mid-tier. So next up, we have the My Hero Academia movie. And looking at all these other series up here, for a good movie and a good MHA movie, I'm not going to lie, it's a nice movie. But compared to these other ones, I just can't think, it's just not on the same tier as it, in my opinion. I think it's a try. You definitely tried, and you definitely did, and it's entertaining, but it's not on the tier of these other ones. And this next one, Children of Lost Voices, is another one that I have to go with a low you tried kind of a tier, because it is good. It definitely is good, but there's a lot of pacing issues. This is another of Makoto Shinkai's films and works on a fantasy world aspect for it, but there's a lot of pacing issues and a lot of like confusing storylines that ends up going on, and I didn't understand it completely, so I can't in good conscience give it the best tier on here. And I'm looking at this list and I noticed that I didn't I totally didn't put Spirited Away on here, and I would give that an A+ if I could. So I'm just going to say that real quick because I don't see it on here, and I think I forgot to add it on there. But anyway, next up we have Penguin Highway, which is going to be an A+. It's an A+, without a doubt. I love it so much. It is actually one of the most underrated movies in my opinion. I thought it was absolutely fantastic and really, really good. I thought it was real paced. I really like the two characters. It's a nice, wholesome series about like this, and the Penguin Highway ends up developing into something more, and we get to find out more about this girl right here. It's a nice, heartwarmed, very well animated series, and it's really, really good. And I recommend it to everybody who likes their kind of more lighthearted, slice of life comedy with a little bit of drama fixated onto it, and it's good. It's really thoroughly good, and I think it's actually really underrated. I have not actually. And next up, we're gonna get onto Promare, which I haven't actually checked out yet, so I can't vote on it, and so that's one of the series I'm going to skip. Letter to Momo is probably, now that I'm doing this, I'm going to have to put it on a low you tried again, because it was good, but it missed on a lot of tiers, in my opinion. It was just like maybe okay at best, but I don't think it's as good as Mari and the Witch's Flower in Lieu of the Wall. I just don't think it's on the same level as that, so I have to put it down in the you tried, because they did a good job, but yeah, it's okay. And next up we have, I'm trying to see what this is. This is a Ghibli movie that I haven't seen. So we're going to skip on to the Cowboy Bebop movie, which is an A+. Fantastically placed. Great Cowboy Bebop through and through. It's a Cowboy Bebop movie, and it's so very, very good. Next up we have From Up on Poppy Hill. Now, originally, I would have given this a mid. I would have. I did like it. I thought it was good. But the ending was left a bit to be desired. So I'm going to keep it at the mid tier. So I think it's okay. It's just right in the middle of the road. Actually, if I'm going to do that, if I'm saying that same thing with Letter to Momo, which is beginning of the road. So I want to put it down to this because I've kind of see these two, Letter to Momo and From Up on Poppy Hill, kind of on the same level for it. I definitely enjoyed both of these movies, but like I said, it wasn't on the tier of everything else. And next up, we have Grave of Fireflies. Now, this is I don't know if I want to give it that waifu tier, though, because it is a fantastic film. It is one of the darkest, most well-written films, and it is one of the saddest films I've ever watched, and it really, really hurt me for that. I'm going to leave it up on waifu tier. I think it's that good on here for the moment. We'll see where this goes as we go on from this, but it is something that it's a silent voice not up, not a silent voice. Is your name not up here? Okay, give me a second. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to add this back on. Alright, we're back with the list, and I went and fixed it. I got got Spirited Away, so there we go, back up there. I fixed it. I might as well, if I was going to add your name, I had to go fix that and put that there. So we'll leave your name at the last for that. But this is Castle in the Sky, again, another movie I haven't seen. This movie, people are going to really hate that I say this, but this is one of the most confusing movies I've ever watched, and that may be just my fault for not understanding a single thing, but I understand zero of what happened in Ghost in the Shell. I don't understand what happened, I'm going to be honest. It was so confusing to me. I could not follow along. I don't know if that was because I was new to anime when I watched it, but when I watched this movie, I left knowing nothing. So this one goes in the trash. I respect what it did for the industry, and I think it's visually really cool, and I think there's a lot of stuff for that, but I couldn't tell you a single thing of what happened in this story. I'm going to be honest. I didn't follow a second of that at all for it. I haven't seen Kiki's Delivery Service yet. I plan to watch that very soon. I have HBO Go Max, so I definitely need to check that out, and I will. So next up, we have Makia When the Promised Flowers Bloom. Now, this is, without a doubt, in the waifu tier for me. This is on par with The Silent Voice. I love what it talked about for motherhood and what love is and just what happens with growing up, moving through life, how to deal with death, what it's like for in a fantasy setting like this with this girl right here who doesn't die, what happens when everybody you love passes on and you're just left here in this world. It's just a very, very good movie, and Marie Okada, who is one of my favorite directors, who does this, is animated very well. I love the characters. I love the pacing. I love the story for this. It is through and through one of the most perfect films out there, in my opinion. It's just so good. So next up, we're going to get into Mari. And now Mari is going to go in the mid tier. I enjoyed it. I thought it was good, but again, I think there was some pacing issues throughout this where it kind of sped up. I think there's stuff that didn't get enough time to do, enough time to develop, and I think stuff passed by pretty quickly in it for the most part. It just felt rushed. Not too bad, but it just feel like there was parts where it was kind of moving too fast, in my opinion. Next up, we have Nausicaa, which I have not seen. I haven't seen End of Evangelion. I haven't even watched the series yet. Perfect Blue is my plan to watch tonight, so we'll see how that ends up going on. Haven't seen Howl's Moving Clash. As you can tell, I have a lot of Ghibli movies I have to catch up on. This is The Girl Who Leapt Through Time. Haven't seen that. Not this. Ooh. Tokyo Godfathers! I want to put it in the trash because of a personal reason where it's not even the movie's fault. It's Sony Crackle's fault because it was free on Sony Crackle. And it totally, for some reason, I clicked on it and ended up playing the last 15 minutes of the series for me, which absolutely made me so mad. But in my opinion, I'm going to give it an A+. I thought it was a really good movie. I love Satoshi Kon. I love what the story that it was overall. Even though the ending got spoiled for me, it was still an enjoyable movie. I'm going to make that my annual Christmas movie now because I'm becoming a weeb and a degenerate, and I have to do it. And I do like this movie, Tokyo Godfathers, a lot. I think Satoshi Kon is absolutely fantastic. I really want to check out Perfect Blue now because of that. And I read Tropic of the Sea, and I thoroughly enjoyed that, and that was Satoshi Kon's manga that he created. So next up we have When Marnie Was Here, and this is In the Trash. I wish there was a series where I could just throw this and delete it, because Marnie is one of the least likable characters that I've ever met in a manga. In an anime, or ever, actually. Because what happens is, I didn't even finish this movie. I dropped this movie, maybe a half hour, 45 minutes in. Because this girl goes to the countryside for, she's not moving away. It's just a vacation, right? She might be moving away. I think she's moving into a new town, actually. I think that's what it was. She was moving to a new town, and so some girl is going around introducing, she's just being nice. This new girl who's been in the town a long time is introducing her to a bunch of people, showing her the festivities, and then this girl is a straight up asshole to her and snaps on her for no reason. And right when that happened, I stopped the movie, because she was just whiny the whole time and just was so unappreciative of everything, and she wasn't even having a hard life. She had no reason to be the way she was, so I could not give it a good, I couldn't review it nicely because it absolutely infuriated me. I hated her as a character. She is infuriating. So I just she just sucks as a character, and I really don't like her at all. So next up, we're going to get on to right here, Wolf's Children, A+. Fantastic series. I really like how it ended because it showed what it's like to have these children. I don't want to spoil too much, but basically what happens is these kids right here are half human and half wolf. So we got to see kind of this perspective of what the human side of that was and what the wolf side of that was and what motherhood is and this crazy motherhood that happens with this kind of weird scenario. And it is just a really, really good film and movie. I really enjoyed it. I thought the animation was really solid. This is Neon's favorite movie. It is not my top 3, Neon. I'm sorry, but it was a fantastic movie, and I can see why you definitely enjoy it as much as you do, because it is really, really good, and it is definitely an A+ movie. So next up, we're going to be getting on to Only Yesterday, which have I finished it yet? I got halfway through it, so I don't want to say my opinion on it yet. I was doing it, and I ended up not being able to finish it. So we're going to get on to Ocean Waves, which is going to be a mid in my opinion. I think this is actually really good. This is some part of the reason why I wish I had 6 tiers instead of 5. I kind of screwed myself with this because I would have given this one above a 5 because I just feel it's not a mid in my opinion. It's definitely an A-. It's not an A+, but it's good. It's good. I really like the aesthetic of it. I like the characters of it. It just didn't blow me away. I think it was cool. I think it was aesthetically pleasing. The pacing was slow at times and weird at times. Their relationship was kind of very sudden and weird for how it kind of worked, and this Kai was kind of just too okay with going to do with whatever the girl wanted to do, so it was a bit weird in my opinion. So I liked it, but again, it wasn't my thing. And now that I'm getting on to The Night is Short, Walk On Girl, and again I'm going to say it is above a mid, but obviously with the list I cannot give it an A+, because I thought it was really good and I really liked the movie. I gave it an 8.5, but again, I want to give it an 8. I just not in my opinion. It was good. I'm now looking back on it without my first impressions, and objectively, it was very whack. Again, I love Masaki Ueshi's worlds that he creates and the wackiness that goes within them and the crazy characters that it is in the animation style. but sometimes it just gets too wacky for no reason. It's just like sometimes it just gets kind of like so out there, you're just like a little bit off put and pulled out of the story because it's so wacky. But I love his worlds. I do think they're an 8. All these ones above it, I would give a 9, and then the waifu tier I'd give a 10. So that's why I'm doing that. And that's why I have to give this one in the mid. And again, why I hate that I put only a mid tier instead of the one below it. Just my own fault. And we're gonna move on to the last series here, which is Your Name. Now, it's going on the waifu tier. This is the first movie that I ever watched. Not actually, Silent Voice was, but this is the second movie I ever watched that was an anime movie, and it blew me away. Cried every time. I love the story. I love Makoto Shinkai and what made me fall in love with this stuff. And like I said, I only can have 3 things up here, so I'm gonna have to move Grave of Fireflies down to an A+ because I love Grave of Fireflies, but I never want to watch it again. All these series I would watch over and over again. I think they're perfect in every single way. And for a personal opinion, I'm putting Your Name above Grave of Fireflies, and I think it's one of the best entries to manga, anime, and the otaku community in general. And it would be, honestly, I feel like it'd be a disrespect not to put it at waifu tier. And I also noticed I didn't put Weathering With You on here. I would put that as an A+. I think it's not as good as Your Name, but I think it's actually a very fantastic one also. But this is my list right here. As you can see, I very much enjoy my anime movies. I think I think overall is pretty fair, in my opinion. So, anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe if you feel I deserve it. Leave in the comments down below if you enjoyed this. And I always love hearing you guys' opinions. And have a good rest of the week. And I will see you in the next video.